to build a positive live chat experience. Okay. All right. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are creating a 2 ingredient with cocoa butter. It is cocoa butter mixed with my calendula essential oil. No, my calendula carrier oil. And I'm just doing 2 ingredients because I wanted to create, this is a part of the series this week of 2 ingredient body butter that you can create quickly at home. If you want something quick that you don't have to do too much, we call it too much formulation, and you just want to do it at home. You can even sell this as well, but you just want to do something quick formulation, not too much work, and something that you can just do within like an hour or so. Then if that's what you're looking for, then this is for you. So thanks for being here. If you're interested in DIY tutorials, how to create anything, how to start a body butter business, then definitely subscribe and like my video. So with that said, let's go ahead and begin. Oh, and one thing we forgot to do was share. Let's share this while we're here. Come on. All right. All right. So you did share it so everyone knows that we are here at the moment. So with that said, let's begin. So this formula, make sure so mic on. So this formula consists of 35% cocoa butter, and then about 63% of carrier oils and some essential oil and vitamin E oil. Now, those are completely optional. You don't have to put them in. It is all up to you. It is a personal preference. But I do like to add those into my formulation. So I'm going to add them. You don't have to keep them in the extra, 6 grams. You can add it into the oil or in cocoa butter, whichever one works for you. All right. So let's begin with our formulation. And I am recording this as well, so don't mind this extra light that you see over here. All right. I'm recording an overhead version of this for you. Let me see what message is being held for review. Potentially inappropriate. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's keep that for review. All right. So we're going to start with our cocoa butter, which we have here. Ooh. Our 35, we're making 9 ounces. So that is 250 grams, and 35% of that is 88 grams. So we need 88 grams of cocoa butter to add to this formulation. So let's do that. I need these to remove. Yeah. So what? Thanks for being here. Okay. All right, now that's out of the way. Let's begin with our 35% of cocoa butter, which is 88 grams. And I'm going to go ahead and add these in. I am using cocoa butter. I think this cocoa butter, you can get it from 3 kg, but you can also get cocoa butter from this one, Making Cosmetics, unrefined cocoa butter from Making Cosmetics. And I have it linked in my Amazon storefront as well. But let's get our 88 grams. I need a small piece because this is pretty thick. It's 34. See if we can get some more. And this formula is probably going to be a bit on the lighter side, like loose. It won't be as thick. Okay, we can add a little bit more of that. That's probably too much. Just take some out. Put one back in. Oh, there we go. We got our 88 grams. Now, since this is 2 ingredients, we're going to go ahead and do, guys, let's step this to the side here. Okay. All right. So since this is 88 grams, we're going to go ahead and have this melt on its own. I do usually add the oil in sometimes, but I prefer on not to add in the oil because this is a bit thicker. As you can see, it's unrefined cocoa butter. It is thicker. It's going to take, overall cocoa butter takes a bit longer to thaw out, to melt. So I don't want to put the oil in there. So let's go ahead and put that in our water bath. It's warm water bath to help this melt. Should help it melt a little bit quickly. And while that's melting, we're going to go ahead and weigh out my additives. Don't have to do this. I'm just doing this because I'm adding in some essential oils, which you don't have to do because you can just do the two ingredients. I'm adding in ylang ylang essential oil for the scent of it and vitamin E oil. Those are completely optional. Let's go ahead and add that. Oh, this is turmeric. Where am I going with turmeric? Let's add in our 1% of essential oil to this. That's the way I like it. 1% vitamin E oil is 3 grams. Need to take a little bit to melt. Almost there. Oh, there we go. 3 grams. That's the way I like it. I think I added this to it. Instead of 3 grams of essential oil. Then I'm also going to add, your essential oil can be at 1%, 3 grams as well, but I'm not going to add that much. I'm going to actually mix this with my turmeric. Just as I said earlier, this is also optional, but I'm going to add it to it still. While that does what it needs to do to melt. It smells so good. And a little bit of this goes a long way too. I'm going to do a gram of this. Just a gram. Thank you. Says you are beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for the compliment. Okay, there we go. Now let's add in my fave for fave. Just to add a little extra. Smell of this might be a little bit strong with this turmeric essential oil. Absolutely optional. Don't need to add this. I'm just deciding to add this in here, okay? Don't have to add these. There it goes. All right. Your colloidal oatmeal is also optional. I just realized I did not add this into the formulation. So we're going to do just a little bit of it in this. I'm going to do a gram of it. I'm not going to do a lot. Oh, I'm blocking the view. Ooh. Oh, I mean, I guess that's perfect. There it is. Okay, so that's perfect. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's mix it all around. So I'm gonna get one of my sterling silver stirring spoons to mix it all together. I hope you guys can see it. Yes, this is what we're using to mix it together. I'm gonna go ahead and mix it together on this side as well. I want the colloidal oatmeal to kind of dissolve in the vitamin E oil and the essential oils that I put inside of it. That's the goal here. Let's mix them all up while it smells. Okay, the cocoa butter is melting, so that's good. Smells nice too. All right, so that's all mixed in. That's all mixed in, as you can see here. If you're just joining, thanks for joining. Please like the video. I am creating a 2-ingredient mixed whipped body butter using cocoa butter and my calendula carrier oil. I should have put that on there, but that's okay. That's the way I like it. All right, so let's wait for that to finish mixing. I feel like I'm here like a bit later today, but that's okay. Tomorrow's my Alright, I'm gonna have to stir it around just a bit to help it melt a little bit. Give it some motivation. It is melting though, but it is cocoa butter, so it's stronger than the rest, thicker than the rest. Alright, so if you are just joining us, we are making a whipped cocoa butter. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to like the video, share it, leave a comment, ask your questions in the comment section. Yeah, that's what we're about to do. The questions. Okay, so while I wait for this to melt, I am going to go ahead and go through a few questions that were submitted and answer those while it melts. I don't know how long it's going to take to melt because I'm also going to answer some of these questions when we put it to cool. Let's give it some motivation and help it melt. Note to self, Coco. Turn it a little bit more. So as you mix it around, it kind of speeds up the process and helps it to melt a little bit more. So I'm gonna mix it around to help speed up that process. So we're just waiting for the cocoa butter to melt. It is harder than our cocoa butter that we used yesterday. Cocoa butter did melt a lot faster, but that's okay. As we mix it, it will help it. But I wanted to answer some of the questions while I did this. So the first question that we have here is similar to what we had yesterday, why we melt it. But if you didn't hear that, let's go over that for today. So why are you melting the cocoa butter? Well, first things first, the main thing, we cannot make whipped cocoa butter without melting it. Let's say I don't put it on the stove and put it in a double boiler and melt it. Even if you add the oils, you're still going to end up adding like warm oil on it to help soften it up, because cocoa butter is a very brittle butter, so there isn't no easy way to go around melting it in some way, shape, or form to get the texture that you're looking for. So you know, we definitely have to melt it. So it helps to, and it helps melting it also helps to break it down. Lots of comments are being removed. Okay, yeah. So it helps to break it down, and it makes it easier to whip it into a nice soft texture, and it also allows the entire formulation to have just one texture across the board, one smooth texture across the board, right? And if you don't melt it down, let's say you do it the hot oil way, you're going to end up with little tiny pieces inside of it, and you don't want that, and it doesn't spread as nicely when you don't melt it. So I hope that answers that question for you. Oh, it is basically melted. All right, let me see how much degrees. Hot like fire. All right, let's wipe that off before I bring it over here. And the last thing we want is some water to get in this, right? So the last thing we want. All right, so let's go ahead and wipe it down. Okay, there we go. So it is nice and melted, and we're going to go ahead and use, I'm looking for it. We're going to go ahead and use our calendula oil that I made. It is linked in my link it in the description box, so you can make some at home for yourself. I did infuse this for a couple of days before I decided to use it. And let's go ahead and add this into our whipped butter. And we're adding this at 63%, and 63% of the formulation is 158 grams. I hope I don't end up with too much because of the container that it's in, but I'm going to shake it up because there's some particles at the bottom. That's the one. Let's get that incorporated for you. Let's do it. Oh no, let's turn it this way, right? Turn it. That's the account. I forgot to break it down anyways. Yeah, okay, great. So let's weigh out that 150 grams to put inside of it. 158. All right, so it's all shaken up now. Okay. That's tighter than I expected. Might need our jar does not want to open. That's strange. Okay, there it goes. All right. So something is telling me that I might need. Let me get my spatula just in case too much of this pour out. It's the infused oil, that's why it's in this bottle, but I should have put it in a more upright bottle, smaller mouth. That's okay. All right, let's go. 158 grams. Oh, that is all of my oil. I don't like that. Yeah, that's basically all of my oil. Ah, perfect. Okay, so I did add the right amount and definitely forgot to turn on the camera, but that's okay. That's okay. I ended up adding this to it. I added 158 grams of it. As you can see here, this is it says honey, but this is infused calendula oil. I'm gonna put this one right here, and I'm gonna use this to, stir it up a bit. Because even though I pour it in and it's both liquid, I still want to mix it up. And the point of me adding in the oil while it's at room temperature and not warming it, it helps it to get cool faster. Because if I have both the butter and the oil is hot, it's going to take a much longer time to cool. So that's why I do it this way instead of the other way. That's the way, yeah. And now we're just mixing this up so everything is all incorporated correctly. Ooh. Okay, that's out of the way. Let's just mix that up. See how hot it is? 116. So it is 116. I can't add in my essential oils inside of it yet. So that's why I'm going to put it to cool down. And once it's cooled down, then I add them. All right, guys. So now that this is completed, I'm gonna go ahead and rest it in the freezer so it can speed up the cool down process for the video's sake. Don't move. I'm gonna be right back. And then when I come back, we can start our Q&A session where I answer questions that was submitted in. Most of them relate to like body butters overall. So I'm gonna add that in there. All right, we also want to check the time. It's like almost 2, so let's put on a timer for that. Should I do a timer? I think so. Let's do a quick timer. So pull it up here and see if we can add a timer so we can time. Oh, there it is. There's a clock. Timer. Nope, it has alarms right here. We're gonna do a timer for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then we do the Q&A. Okay. I could have sworn it was much easier, and it's just, because I picked timer. Oh well. I guess that's that. Let's do it here. I think I found it. 30 minutes. Okay. So there's a 30 minutes timer I just turned on a while ago. Perfect. All right. So now while we do that, let's go over the questions. Stop and let's go. All right. Let's begin. So our next question that we have to answer is, why only 2 ingredients, and is that enough? So yes, 2 ingredients is enough. You don't have to add all the other ingredients. It's just that adding all the other ingredients kind of spruce up the formula, and sometimes you want to mix it up a bit, add more moisturizing properties, and it depends on what you're making it for. The essential oils help for, like, flaky skin, eczema, and things like that. So that's why some people add essential oils, or most of the other things that you're going to add to it is because of the specific benefit that it provides to the product. So you can add it in. I mean, you can add other things in, but 2 ingredients are fine just for it, because usually in order to make the butter, you need a hard butter and an oil. That's the main thing. Everything else is, extra, and because of the benefits that it has. That's all. And it's beginner friendly. When you use 2 ingredients, it is beginner friendly, and it can be super moisturizing depending on the oils that you choose to use. All right, so let's go to the next one. Oop, this can turn off now. I need to turn off the burner. You guys want some music? All right, so turn that down. Number 3, if you're just joining, please like the video. Thanks for being here. And we are currently doing the Q&A while we wait for our melted butters and oils to cool down so we can whip them up effectively. All right, so it says, what's the best oil to use with cocoa butter? So cocoa butter, I'll say, is a bit of a heavier oil. So you can use, it's best to pair it with the lighter oils, so that way it have like a good balance of heavy and light. You know them way they say you can add like grapeseed oil. I will forever say sweet almond oil is like it just feels so good. Like if you don't have nut allergies, sweet almond oil is really great to add into like any one of your body butters. But let's say you don't want to use it because of nut allergy, then you can go ahead and use jojoba oil. You can't go wrong with that, but it costs more. So another alternative is hemp seed oil, grapeseed. I just feel like grapeseed doesn't really last long, but if you're putting it with cocoa butter, so it works. And what's the other one? Grapeseed. A whole bar sweet almond. Okay, so that's what I have here. Okay. But you can also add, any liquid of your choice. Why does it scroll on so fast? I can't get to see the rest of the questions. I guess I'm scrolling so far down. 4. All right, so the next question we have here is, how do I know how much oil to add? So it all depends on the texture that you're going for. Do you want it to be hard? Do you want it to be a bit loose, that it's actually to be a bit loose? Do you want a medium, which most people really go for that medium range when it comes on to body butter. So that's how you figure out, how much you want to add. Some people go for 70 to 30, which they do 70%, 70 to 80% cocoa butter, and then they do like 20 to 30% oil. But I find that texture sometimes can be a little bit harder. I'll say that seemed a little bit hard to me. So for this one, I did 35% cocoa butter, 63% carrier oil, and that's because I wanted it to be a bit softer. Now, let's say I wanted it to be a bit harder. I'll do 40 to 45%. I don't go up to like 70% cocoa butter. That, to me, that's just too much. I don't like that texture. I like it to be more of like a solid butter instead. All right. The next question here. Put this here. Let's see what they have. All right, so your next question is, how long does it take for the butter to cool before whipping? 20 to 40 minutes. So, I put a timer on my phone for 30 minutes. So in the next 30 minutes, I will go and I'll get it and then we can whip it up. 40 minutes, it will get hard, but then it's 35%. So it's not going to get that hard. But about 30 minutes is good enough for me in the freezer. That's why I put it in the freezer. That's good enough for me. Because you don't want it to be too solid. You want to be able to whip it up and get a nice texture from it. And then that also depends on how much you put in there. Number 6. Hi, if you're just joining me, please like the live, even if you're passing through. I am making whipped body butter and we are now waiting for the cool down phase to be done so we can whip it up. If you're interested in anything like that and to say you can't wait for that, definitely like, subscribe to the channel and you can see more videos like that. All right, number 6. Can I put it in the fridge? Oh, yes, speed up cooling. Yeah. So yes, you can, because that's what I'm doing. I wouldn't. I'm not sure. I feel like I had this question yesterday. It's the same question. Yeah. So yes, you can put it in the fridge or freezer. I'm doing the freezer. I find the fridge to take too long. Maybe I'm just impatient, but I find putting it in the fridge to take way too long. So I like to put it in the freezer, and once it's in the freezer, it kind of speeds up the process of it getting of the cool down phase, and it makes it like perfect for whipping if you time it properly. Next one here. Do I have to whip it, or if I just pour it into the jar? Yes, if you want it to have that nice smooth texture, whip it up. If you just pour it into the jar, it's going to solidify, like when you make candles and you just pour it into the jar and just solidify just flat across. That's how it's going to be now. It will still be usable, but if you sit it on the table like that to harden up, it might be grainy, because sometimes it's grainy because it cools down too quickly, or it takes too long to solidify. So you end up with a grainy thing and it's not as smooth, and it's not all becoming solid at the same time. So it ends up grainy. It can still usable, but it's just not as smooth. How long does a whipped body butter last? 6 to 12 months, and this also depends on the oil. If the oil that you use expires within 6 months, then the body butter is done after 6 months. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. No, I don't. Oh, I can't put it in the background. That's fine. It's going to allow me. That's fine. All right, number 8. How long does a whipped body butter last? If stored properly in a clean, dry container, it can last. Oh, wait, I just read that, right? Okay. Can I add fragrance or essential? Ooh. Number 9. Here it goes. Can I add fragrance or essential oils? Absolutely. Add them once the butter has slightly cooled down. So once it's cooled down, and what I'm basically, like, what I'm going to do, once I take it out of the freezer and it's time to whip it up, I'm going to add my essential oils to that and additives. And we are using it at like 1%. Number 10, why is my whipped butter melting after I make it? So whipped body butters are sensitive to heat. So if it's melting after you make it, that means it's not stable, and wherever the environment that you're in, sorry, the environment that you're in is probably too hot. It's probably too warm, so it's going to melt even faster. So you have to keep it in a nice cool place. So if your home has air conditioner, it will last long, it won't melt. And yeah, so do that. Add it if your home has air conditioner or something, it will last longer. You might have to put it in the fridge if your home doesn't have air conditioner, or if like overall, sorry guys, let me move the mic. Yeah. So if like overall you don't have air conditioning in a house and it's going to melt, you might have to put it in your fridge, or you might have to add more cocoa butter to this. Now it probably will still melt, but it will take a little bit longer, but it will still melt probably. But you might want to add a little bit more cocoa butter. This is if you're not going to put it in the fridge. Why does cocoa butter feel so hard on its own? Well, it's at room temperature. Cocoa butter is pretty hard. Yeah, I think that's just how it works. I think that's just the makeup of cocoa butter. That's the texture. That's just how it is. It is made that way. So in order to make it a bit loose and softer, you have to add oil. That's when they what do you call it? When they develop it, that's just the texture of it. I've never found soft cocoa butter, even if it's unrefined. It's usually a bit brittle. And you always have to add some type of oil in order to get it to a little bit of a smoother texture. Sorry. Even if you're purchasing cocoa butter in like the store or something, it's always mixed with something else to make it a bit smoother and, spreadable texture. What's supposed to Let's get to the next question. Fragrant oil. What? So can I use this on my hair? So yeah, you can use this on your hair, especially this one that I'm making. It's a bit softer. I wouldn't put calendula oil in there because I feel like calendula oil is like for your skin. You know, when you make an oil like that, you make infused oil. I don't think I'd put it on my hair because I wash it out. Maybe that's something I want for my skin. But you can put it on your hair. Just mix it with another oil. Mix it with jojoba oil. Mix it with macadamia nut oil. And it is super rich for like dry ends, like the ends of your hair. You can put it on that as well, your hair overall. So you can try it that way. And also because cocoa butter is heavy too, you don't want build up, so you want to not use too much on your hair. How can I make my butter? Wait, what's the difference? What's the difference between refined and unrefined cocoa butter? So unrefined cocoa butter has that classic chocolate scent. So I have unrefined cocoa butter as well. Was it that what I used in my eczema butter? I think it was unrefined cocoa butter. And unrefined cocoa butter smells like chocolate. It has the real good ones has a nice cocoa chocolate scent. So because I have some, and I like it because of the scent. And it has more nutrients inside of it as well. While refined cocoa butter is processed, so it doesn't that's refined cocoa butter, it doesn't have any scent. It smells nothing like chocolate, it just smells like butter. But either one works though. It just depends on what you prefer. But I love the chocolate smell. My face looks so tired. Oh, what was happening? How can I make my butter less greasy? Okay, so it says, how can I make my butter less greasy? I mentioned this before. Try adding lightweight oils to it. If you want it to be less greasy, try adding lightweight oils. And some people use arrowroot powder. That's up to you. it helps, and because it helps to cut down the greasiness. But if you're going to, honestly, if you're doing, let's say you know the type of butter that you're using, find the type of oil that is lighter so it balances out. You don't want to use too heavy oils and it's too much. So let's balance it out. Okay, let's go down to the rest of the questions. I need you to stay here. How long was school to? How much oil should I add? Says, do I have to whip it? You don't have to, but whipping it makes it fluffy. But honestly, if you don't, unless you just make it cool down in the freezer, then it probably won't have as much grains. But I feel like, why not whip it? You know, why not whip it up? Says, can I use, oh, this is a good question. Can I use shea butter instead of cocoa butter? Yes, however, not with this formula. If you can use shea butter instead of cocoa butter, you're going to need the next formula, because I use a little bit of cocoa butter because of how thick cocoa butter is. And now I'm thinking I probably should add a bit more cocoa butter, but that's neither here nor there. Because of how thick cocoa butter is, shea butter is softer. If you put that little bit amount of shea butter and so much oil is going to be loose, you would want to add way more. Like you're gonna want to add more shea butter than that. You're not gonna want to add, that amount of shea butter. But you can use shea butter instead of cocoa butter for this formulation. But just know the texture and firmness of it will change. Why is my butter grainy? Usually from cooling too slow. Rapid cooling helps prevent that. So if you literally if you sit it out on the counter, that is the reason. It's taking too long to cool. So that's why we do freezer, fridge, things like that to speed that process up. Can I add color to my body butter? Yes, you can use skin safe oil dispersible colorants. Mica. There's a bunch of micas online. I have some in my Amazon store. You can go in there and purchase mica to add into your body butter to change the color of your body butter or body scrubs, any one of those. So you can definitely add color or change the color of your body butter using mica, which is it's a very popular thing to do, because I feel like the ones that are colored, they sell better because of how they look, because of the color of it and all of that. So they do tend to sell better. Whew, my back. Let me check how much time we have left before it's ready. Okay. Excuse me. 12 minutes isn't bad. 12 minutes before we can go back and get it. What's the best way to store body butter? I mentioned this earlier. In a clean, airtight container away from heat and the light. That's your best way to store it. It says, will cocoa butter clog your pores? Well, it can be very heavy, especially if you want to just, try and use this on your face. So what you want to do is do a skin patch test. I don't put cocoa butter on my face. So you can do a skin patch test, but I wouldn't suggest it, especially if you have oily skin. But if, like I said, you can do a skin patch test and see which one works. See how it works for you. But it is a heavier butter. Let's go down. Is cocoa butter good for a sensitive skin? It is, but just like with anything else in life that you're using for the first time, especially if you have sensitive skin, do a skin patch test to make sure that this is the right butter for you. What's the ideal room temp for making body butter? Around 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. About that. To help with cooling and whipping, about that is great. How long should I whip the butter? 5 to 10 minutes. That's like the average, but sometimes I whip it even longer. And it gives you a nice fluffy. So there's a whisk that I have that you can use that's better than the one that I have to whip. If you get one of those whisks, chef's kiss, because it gives it a nice powdery fluffy texture. What tools do I need to make whipped body butter? So in order to make whipped body butter, you need a double boiler. I have it right here, a hand mixer, a spatula, and clean containers. So that will really help. So a double boiler, hand mixer, a spatula, and clean containers are like the perfect tools for to make whipped body butter. Those are like main things I'm thinking. Double boiler, hand mixer, spatula, and clean containers. Yeah, great tools to have to start out. Can I sell this body butter? You can, but check with your local laws and add preservative is needed if needed for certain ingredients. So just be careful with that. Just don't jump out there and sell it. Like test it first. Make sure it's a formula that you like, a formula that works for you. If you're just joining, thanks for being here. Don't forget to, I'm not ending. I'm just saying, can you please like the video for me? And if you're interested in like DIY tutorials, DIY body butter, just like DIY skincare overall, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment in the comment section as well. And we're currently making a live whipped body butter, but we're waiting for it to cool, and then we come back and whip it up once it's cool. We have 9 more minutes to go check on it. Okay, can I sell? Next one, let's get the next question. Do I need preservatives? Not for anhydrous products. Where is it? Okay, there's it. Yeah. So not for anhydrous products. Those are water-free products. You don't really need preservatives for those. So just like a body butter like this, you don't need preservative for that. But keep water out to avoid contamination. Can I use coconut oil instead of the carrier oil? Yeah. Yeah, instead of the carrier oil that I chose, you can definitely use coconut oil. That's actually a great mix with it. Coconut oil is a good, yeah, a good thing to add to it. And when you add the coconut oil, you can, what do you call it? Add the coconut oil to it and whip it up. Chef's kiss. You won't regret it. That's if you don't have any sensitivity to coconut oil and you're okay with using coconut oil. Definitely check it out and use unrefined coconut oil like that. Can I use coconut oil? How do I fix a butter that's too soft? Remelt and add more cocoa butter. If it's too soft, remelt it, add more cocoa butter, then whip it again. Now, let's say you're making this for selling and you're testing it and you're like, damn, how much cocoa butter I need to add? When you add the extra cocoa butter, you want to write that down so you know, say, yeah, this is how much cocoa butter you add. And when you add the cocoa butter to it and re-whip it, you want what's the total value of it? Because when you go to put this into like your Excel sheet or whatever you use to keep track of it, you need to know that. So what's the total volume? And then you have once you get the total volume of it and you put that in your form, you're going to the amount of cocoa butter that you add before. Let's say you added 88 grams, you're going to add that cocoa butter to the cocoa butter, extra cocoa butter that you added to the end. Put that in your form, the new value, so you can, and then that way you're able to see, how much percentage that the increased percentage overall. So you get like a good idea of that. How do I fix the butter that's too hard? Well, it will be the opposite of the previous question, which is remelt, add more liquids, and that will soften it up. But when you melt it, you need to take into consideration if you add added essential oils or anything like that, because you don't want it to be too hot when remelting. How do I make a big batch? So it's kind of similar to what I was talking about before. You have to scale up, and you have to scale up the recipe evenly by percentage. So you have to take your formula and turn it into percentage, and then you can scale it up that way. And I have a video about that. I have a video how to create your own form. I do sell my own form for that as well, where you can use it to scale it up and turn your formula into percentage. How do I make a bigger batch? Oh yeah. Why is cocoa butter good for the skin? It's rich in antioxidants and deeply moisturizing, making it perfect for dry skin. I'm going to go check on this butter to see if it's good enough for us to whip it. I know it's going to be lighter, not as hard as my previous butter, but that's okay. So let's see what we got here. Let's see. Let's go check on it, guys. And once this is completed, I can go get something to eat. This not yet. So this did 30 minutes. I'm pretty sure it's going to need an extra 10 because that's not ready at all. Not ready. Let's get a chair because we're going to have to sit down to wait for it to finish doing what it's doing. But yeah, so let's get back to our questions that we were answering. Okay, so we did why is cocoa butter good for the skin? One second, guys. Let me pull up the rest of these questions. That should be right here. I have it in my Notion, but this is gonna take longer than we thought. Control A, no. Hold on. Okay, for some reason it's not pulling up. That's fine. Let's sign in for it. Let's put it here. Okay, that one pops up. Let me see if I can find it in here. Questions. Alright, but I want to some questions. Okay, that should probably help me. That should work. All right, if you're just joining, don't forget to like the live. I am making whipped cocoa butter. This whipped cocoa butter is 2 ingredients that I'm using. I am now waiting for it to melt before I get it together so I can whip it up. I'm waiting for it to cool down, actually. It's already melted. I'm waiting for it to cool down so I can whip it up. Let's see. These customers. All right, so we are waiting for our whipped cocoa butter to cool down so we can whip it up and then wrap it up. So while we're doing that, we're going to answer a few more questions. I was just waiting to get some more. Okay, so what are some surprising skin benefits of cocoa butter and why, I decided to use it in this formulation? Okay, so cocoa butter, turn this down. As I mentioned earlier, it is packed with antioxidants. It's fight free radicals. It reduces, it's claimed to reduce signs of aging. It is great to add into body butter when you're thinking about eczema, super dry skin, flaky skins. Like that is like a power butter to add into your formulation when you're thinking about those type of skin issues. It is a natural bar. It forms a natural barrier on your skin. Yes, texture. Okay. And it helps with rashes. So the next thing here is, what's the trickiest part of getting the perfect whipped consistency and how do you fix it? So the trickiest part is something that I feel like a lot of us struggle with, and it is temperature control, because you don't want to take it out too soon. You also don't want it to take too long to cool, because based on, oh, okay, that was a timer for me to check it. I'm going to check it again. Hold on. To see. Let's check and see if it's ready to whip up. It's not ready at all. Yesterday it was the same thing. It take long, like. Anyways, so if the, yeah, back to the temperature. The trickiest thing when making body butter is the temperature control, because if it take too long to cool down, it is going to be very grainy, and you just won't get that nice smooth texture that you're probably going for. So you don't want that. And then I had mentioned earlier that if any one of these things happen, is either it's too hard, say you have to melt it and add more liquid, it's too soft, have to melt some cocoa butter and add to it. So somewhere along that line, to get in the middle, to get a nice texture from it. Now, what's an unexpected ingredient you would add to cocoa butter for a unique twist? For me, is the colada oatmeal, but I feel like I've added that in almost every video. So the colada oatmeal will be something that I would add to it, and where do we go? Okay, yeah, so it adds soothing properties and it makes it perfect for sensitive skin. So that's why I use colada oatmeal inside of it, and I've been using it for a long while. That way you don't have to actually add oatmeal and go through the process of, however they used to do it. I just add the colada oatmeal and it works perfectly fine for me. I haven't had any struggles with it. And next thing you can use is arrowroot powder, and that's if you don't want it to be too greasy. So you can do that. Number 4, what's a common mistake in scaling recipes, and how does your scaling sheet help? And how does my scaling sheet help? I think that's what you're saying here. So I have it written down here. So a common mistake is assuming you can just multiply ingredients equally. All right. So oils and butters behave differently in larger batches. And that can affect the texture and absorption of it. So you have to think about that when you're scaling it. So my scaling sheet helps by providing precise ratios and adjustments for consistency. And it's basically you're doing that the same amount each time. That's why you want to make sure you're scaling using percentages. So you have this in your body butter formulation, you have the same amount, same time, and you don't have to worry about it feeling different every time you make it. Do you prefer to enhance cocoa butter scent, or does it shine? If I am using if I'm using Honor Fine and it has that chocolate scent, I don't need to add anything to it. But this is a 2-ingredient formulation, so I don't have to if I don't want to. Sometimes if it's unrefined, I will just keep it at the cocoa butter. The one that I have now is refined, so I did add some essential oil inside of it just to kind of change the scent of it to help with that. Ooh, peppermint is great to add. What's happening on a molecular level when cocoa butter is whipped? All right, so let's answer that here. So when whipping, you're incorporating air into the mixture, creating a light fluffy texture. That's why, let's say I made 9 ounces, right, and I have a 9 ounce jar, but then when I whip it up and pour it in, all of it can't hold because it is filled with air. So sometimes it's like it feels very light because sometimes it's less than the 9 ounce because it's filled up with air, so you don't get a full 9 ounce out of it. Make it smooth. Number 7, DIY versus store-bought. What's the biggest misconception about homemade body butters? So many think homemade body butter is greasy or doesn't last long, but that's not true. With the right formula using light oils and natural stabilizers, it can create a luxurious, non-greasy butter that rivals store-bought body butters without preservatives. So it's, based on how you make it, what you use inside of it, and probably where you get it from too, and the oils and those things, a combination. Temperature troubles. How do you rescue a batch if it melts or solidifies too quickly? Melt it. Anytime you have a batch that is solidifying too quickly, your only option is to melt it. This is before you put in your essential oils and stuff. Make sure you melt it. Don't wait. Don't toss it either. Just melt it. It solidified too quickly. Melt it, and you don't have to melt it all the way this time. Just melt it enough so you can whip it up. How can people extend the shelf life of a whipped cocoa butter naturally? So you can add a few drops of vitamin E oil. It's not a preservative, but it helps to prevent oxidation from the oils that you might whip up with inside of it. So it keeps it fresh for a year. So that's why a lot of people use vitamin E oils inside of it, not only for the benefits on your skin, but to help to extend the shelf life of the oils. That's why some people use vitamin E oil. Are there unconventional ways to use whipped cocoa butter? Well, I wouldn't say it's unconventional because a lot of people use it for that, to tame, hair, to soften cuticles. Yeah, it's great for that. Or some people use it as a makeup remover. However, that depends on how your skin reacts to it, because some people it clogs their pores, so you have to be careful with that. All right. All right. If you're here, if you're passing by, I am creating a whipped cocoa butter. I made using 2 ingredients. Some essential oils are optional. I am waiting for it to cool down so I can whip it up, and that way we can create the rest of the formulation. So if you're interested in that, you can like, you can subscribe, you can leave a comment, you can ask your questions or anything along that line. And now that I'm waiting, I'm answering some questions. Why does Okay, we already speak. I think we spoke about it being grainy and how to prevent it already. Okay, it says, can you mix cocoa butter with water-based ingredients like aloe vera? Not directly, like you can't just directly add water-based ingredients to cocoa butter. Because oil, first things first, oil and water don't mix. So you're going to add that and it's going to separate. That's number one. Number two, you can't add it to it like how you just add oils to your whipped cocoa butter here and just to use it straight away, because water is involved, so you're going to need a preservative. Because water and oil don't mix, you're going to need an emulsifier, so that way you can have the oil and the water to mix and create an actual cream. That's how they make lotions, right? And that way it kind of binds the ingredients together. What's the best type of container to store it? Glass jars are ideal. Yeah, that's what I use. But I feel like them heavy and them broke too quickly and expensive, especially if you have a business. But the glass jars, because they don't react with the butter and they help maintain freshness. If using plastic, opt for high quality, BPA free containers to avoid contamination. Does cocoa butter clog pores? I think I answered that already. Can cocoa butter be used on the scalp and hair? I think I answered that as well. Yes, it can. It can, and you can add, the arrowroot powder or some tapioca starch. It helps absorb the excess oil. How can you make whipped? Already spoke about that, making it less greasy. What's the difference between raw and refined cocoa butter? We went to that. Can you whip cocoa butter without adding like extra oils and stuff like that? I mean, it is possible because you can melt it and then before it get too hard, you whip it up. But it's ideal for you to add some oil to it because you whip it up. By the time you leave it there, it's going to get hard. It's going to get back brittle. So you want to add some oil to it. Don't whip it up without oils. Don't do that. It'll defeat the purpose of a body butter. And whipping it makes it much easier as well. Makes What's the best way to customize whipped cocoa butter for different skin types? Hold on, let me check the butter while I'm here. 1 second. Okay, so it has about 5-10 minutes more and then I can whip it up. So the next question that we have here is without adding other oils. What's the best way to customize whipped cocoa butter for different skin types? Dry skin, okay. So dry skin, you want to use richer oils, something that is heavier. Like jojoba oil is great because jojoba oil is great for combination skin. But like what I did yesterday in the cocoa butter, you want to add avocado oil because it's like rich and like a bit heavier. Oily skin, you want to use lighter oils like grapeseed, jojoba oil, even maybe safflower oil. Sensitive skin, you want to stick to minimal ingredient. Wait, where is it? Oh, sensitive skin. So if you're sensitive skin, you want to use minimal ingredients and less is more. So coconut oil works for that. Let's go down to the rest. Why do some whipped butters deflate over time? I think I had this question before. They probably deflate because it melts, or is it? How do you even know where it? Probably melt. Probably the environment that it's in. It's probably too what do you call it? It's probably too. Yeah, it's probably too warm, so it probably melts, and that's probably why it deflates. I don't think anything is like directly wrong with it. So another question here, which I think is a random question, it says, if you could make a body butter inspired by a dessert, what would it be? Other than chocolate, because I made the chocolate before, I made coffee. Well, the chocolate would be the cocoa butter, so probably like a coffee inspired. It would be like a mocha inspired body butter. That's what I did. I made like a mocha inspired body butter before, and it was because I used a cocoa butter and it had like the chocolate scent. So that one is great. Strawberry shortcake is something that I've seen before too, so it's pretty popular. What's your personal favorite scent combination for whipped cocoa butter? I don't usually put scent inside of it. If anything, I don't even use my mango scent to just be for shea butter, so I don't use scent inside of it. I probably use essential oils, ylang essential oil, peppermint, lavender. Yeah, tea tree. That's where I usually go with it. It says, have you ever had a body butter fail? What happened? So fail, I guess in the beginning stages when I was thinking about formulation, I would say yes, it failed because I made it too hard, but then I fixed it. And I also had one time that I was creating a body butter and water fell inside of it, and that was just, that happened, and that was like a no-go. Like I just left that alone. It was just like, don't even bother. If you could only use one butter forever, which one would it be? Cocoa butter, shea butter, or mango butter? Which would you pick and why? It would be between mango and shea butter because I use mango and shea butter a lot, and combining those two together gets you like a really great result. So I use those two a lot, like very often, and I'd recommend those two together. But I don't think I could choose one. If you could only use one butter forever, I don't know. What's the weirdest ingredient you've ever seen in a skincare product? I don't know. I don't think I've seen anything weird. Maybe, I'm not sure. I think aloe. I haven't. I'm not there. I haven't seen anything weird yet. Anything that I'd be like, oh, okay. If you could only use the, do you have a favorite memory or experience related to making body butter? Yeah, one. And I think it's when I made the lemongrass body butter, and the texture that I wouldn't say I created, but I created at that time when making it, what came from it, and how that was an accident. Me, when I created the lemongrass body butter, it was an accident, and then it ended up that it sold out when I went to the market. So that was definitely a surprise to me. Like, it was such a shock. I didn't expect anyone to like purchase it because it was an accident. I just put too much lemongrass in there. But yeah, if your whipped cocoa butter had a fun name, what would you call it? Cocoa Island? Maybe something along that line. Let me go check on it as we speak of it. You'll be back. Let's go check to see. Okay, so it's taking a bit longer, and I think it's the amount of oils that's inside of it. That's why it's taking so long. Me, I'm gonna get 10 more minutes, and then when I take it out, I'm gonna go whip it up. Okay, let's get back to it. If you whipped, okay, what's this? What's a self-care ritual you love besides using body butter? Body scrubs. I make those too. So body scrubs, lots and lots of body scrubs, face scrubs, all day. Well, not all day, but whenever I can do it, ideally 3 times a week. But sometimes it's once, like on a Sunday. So I'll do it on yeah, body scrubs will be my favorite ritual. Using body scrubs in the shower. If you could create a limited edition seasonal body butter, what would the theme be? Seasonal, so I guess the theme would go with the season. Let's say spring now would be like a floral body butter. That would be ideal for the season that we're in. So it would be something along the floral line. It doesn't have to be lavender. You can do chamomile. Ylang has a great scent as well, and a few others. But yeah, I would do something floral, even though I feel like that's common. But something along that line, something feminine, floral. Funniest reaction someone has had to try your body butter. Is the funniest reaction? I don't think I have any funny reaction. Do you have a dream ingredient that you love to work with but haven't yet? Salt butter. I've heard good things about salt butter, but I've never used it yet. And I think people use it in their hair as well. So I would want to try using salt butter. What's the best skincare tip you've ever received? I don't have one that I received, but I can give you one that I learned for myself. Less is more. That works for me. All that 25-step skincare routine, that's too much. Too much. That's not going to work for me. Less is more, and less is more always works for me. Do you know what's the best skincare now? If you could give your body butter to any celebrity, who would it be? I've never thought about that. Like, if I could give my body butter to any celebrity, who would it be? I've never really thought about that. And I don't know. I've never really thought about that before. Maybe that's something I should think about because I've never thought about that before. If someone is brand new to making body butter, what's the first thing they should know? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you're brand new to making body butter, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of information out there. You don't have to spend $2,000. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to do this. There's a lot of free information out there that you can use. Lots of free information. Don't overthink it. And don't try not to compare yourself to others. Oh, chips. I think I zoned out for a bit, guys. If you could give your if someone is brand new to making next question. What's one beauty product you can't live without besides body butter? I don't have one. Oh, Dr. Bonner's liquid Castile soap. Maybe those. Yeah, that would be it. The Dr. Bonner's liquid Castile soap will be perfect. What's the first thing you should know? What's the most no? Oh, what's the most creative way you've seen someone use cocoa butter? I don't have any creative way actually. Look, I cannot see. There you go. Great. I had to block that person. But where were you? What's the most creative way you know? I don't know. I don't think there's like a creative way that I've seen someone use it. Because most time I've seen it being used, it is as a body butter. May I try think lotion, soap. Nothing out of the ordinary, I'll say. Do you prefer body butter fresh out of the jar, or do you? That's a weird question because it's like warm it up with your hands. How do you do that? Like, well, I guess when you put it in your hand, it melts. But fresh out of the jar and warming with your hands is kind of the same because no matter what you do, when you take the butter fresh out of the jar and put it in your hand, it's like a melt. So it's going to get there either way, right? If you had to describe your body butter in 3 words, what would they be? That's a good question. It would be luxurious. I would say luxurious, but it's like it's relatable, easily accessible. It's soft. It's soft, sensitive, not too much going on for it, not too hard, just a great mixture. That's a lot of words. That's more than 3, but that's what I think about. And it's a part of my core memory. Perfect. All right, it should be done now. So let me go ahead and check it. Oh, it is 3 o'clock. I have 20 minutes. Check. Go check. Let me go check on it. Okay, guys, we are back in business. Let me move this chair. All right, whew. Let's get these gloves back on. Ready for the road. So it's kind of cool to get to wipe it off. Let's wipe that off a bit because it's pretty cold. Kind of warm it up. Okay. Let's wipe it off because we're going to go ahead and whip it up. All right, let's put this over here. Ooh. All right, so I have my handheld mixer here. My tool of choice, my weapon of choice for today. I'm crying myself up. As per usual. See that the camera should have come over a little more. And that is. As either way, I forgot to cut this up. So, ready? Let's mix it up. I'm gonna forget to record this. The last one, I forget to record. All right, let's begin. So it's whipped up, not fully yet. I haven't done, but you know, this is the texture of it. But I'm going to turn this up some more. I'm going to turn it up to 5 to kind of speed up the whipping process and to see. It's already, I guess, a little bit thicky, but let's turn it up all the way. Let's turn it up to 5. It's getting nice and fluffy, guys. Nice and fluffy. Woo. Has a nice White pretty color. I probably should have added some mica onto this just for demonstration, but I'd rather not. I can feel it solidifying already. All right. Let's scoop the sides off. That's what we're going to do now. This is so nice and puffy and fluffy. This is nice and fluffy. I like it. I'm going to whip it up some more still. Look at that. Look at that. Actually, nice and fluffy. All right. Okay, nice and fluffy. I like this. And I did use calendula oil, my calendula oil. Give me like a 2-ingredient. Let me turn this alarm off. I think my phone is ringing again. Okay, it's getting pretty thick. It smells like the calendula. Smells like it could use a little bit more. Ooh, guys, guess what I forgot to put in there? This. I'm like, why am I gonna smell the fragrance in there? All right, guys, we're gonna put this inside of it now. Completely forgot, but let's go ahead and pour it in. I should have put it in before I whipped it up, but it's all right. We're gonna make it count. Why always I forget them things here, you know? All right. So I can mix in everything. Almost time for me to get out of here though. So I'm gonna wrap this up soon. All right. Ooh, nice and fit. All right, let's do this. And since we just added the calendula, we want to whip this up a lot more to make sure it's in there. And that's it. Since we just added the colored oatmeal and essential oil and anything there. Let's do this again. Because we want to make sure it's properly incorporated. We want to make sure it's in, like, it's properly mixed in. Don't want to leave out nothing. is nicely mixed in. I like when I see like this. Yeah, man. Look at this, guys. It's so whipped, nice and creamy, but it is cocoa butter, so it's a bit thicker. Here's the thing though, I ran out of jars. So I am actively using, this is a jar that I washed. I had candles in there, I washed it. I like to reuse stuff, and I have a cover for it, so it's going to be my new body butter jar. All right, so let's scoop this on. So the texture that it has, yo, this is so nice and fluffy. Look at that. So fluffy. And it's giving, I just like it. I just like it. I don't know. And that's texture. It's the next thing with cocoa butter. You can, right now it's at the texture where I can pipe it in. Should I use a piping bag? Let's just go all out since we're there. I'm gonna pipe it. Why not, right? To kind of get everything inside of it in the way that I want to. Oh, oh, found the piping bag, guys. Gonna knit the bottom. I should have knit the bottom from before, but no fade, no shade. We're good to go. I'm actually gonna use one of these and we're gonna pipe it in. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go all out. All right. Now to pipe it in, this is what we're gonna do. Let's put it here. I feel like it's so dark back here, guys. If it is, I am. Ooh, that's why. I'm so sorry. So I have these like disposable piping bags. Let me get a tip. Remember, we said we're just gonna do the right thing. I don't have in here. That's strange. Hold on, guys. I'm racing against time here. Ooh, no, I don't want that tip there. Found the tip that I want, but I want to make sure it's nice and clean. I'm gonna clean it out already, you know. Found the tip, guys. Make sure it's clean. And you see it over there sit? Ooh. I do prefer to do this with my other. Oh. Guys, it just get hot for me. It just get hot for me. I know that did happen. I know, but I pipe it in the same way. And look, all the something that I tell you about 70%. Oh, with that did with that. Oh. We're using a piping bag. We're gonna pipe it in. Will we do this in time? Probably. This, you see the texture of it? It's kind of puffy. This texture is harder. So make can see how this tight, guys. I think the walking away from it wasn't such a good idea. Cause it's too tough to go through there now, you see that? Yep. That just happened. Okay. Enough like water. Piping bag cannot manage it because of how hard it is. So you saw it here. We're gonna go ahead and just put it in. On the video, it won't look like this though. It will give you the step-by-step how to do this the right way. Where is it? And that, keep it in mind, that was with 35% cocoa butter. But look how it still melts. You see that? You see how soft it is there? It looks a mess, I know, but trust me, it will be worth it in the end. I think this is the beauty of live, right? I know what I'm gonna do. Perfection. Let a quick whip fix it. Because it have a nice, like, spreadable texture. Definitely rush this. So the texture that it is soft, but I like when it's one. Oh, I like when it just one complete texture across the board. So it looks grainy and kind of mash up right now. That's because I tried to pipe it into the thing and it was too hard to pipe it in. So what I'm going to do, as we were talking about earlier, if it doesn't turn out how you want it, let's say it is too hard because I didn't put it in fast enough, what are your options? And that's what I'm going to show you now. So this is perfect learning moment for anybody who's on the live right now. I'm going to show you what to do. We're going to warm it, but not a lot. Right, we're gonna warm it enough so we can whip it up back again, and this time just pour it in. So the texture that I had is in the beginning was perfect. So I'm gonna scoop up this sphere off of the side. I'm gonna want to drop, scoop it all in to fix that, to fix it how I need it to be. I only have about a good 10 minutes either way, so it have to work. I was just trying to use my piping bag because I've piped it before, but it was at a softer texture when I did it. And it's, to be honest, it's not that hard. So I don't know why did I go on so. I know I scoop it off as soon as I touch it. See? As soon as I touch it, it'll melt. So I don't know wait I go on so far. That's the beauty of it, right? Alright. Let's help this melt just a little bit, just enough so we can get these things on the room. But while that works, we're going to clean up our workstation just a little, because it doesn't need to look like what we just went through. Oh, forgot that we had some in here as well. The tip was like, nah. It's better to do this with the shea butter if that's what you're saying. I'm just scooping out the tip for you. I'm still here. Let me go. There it is. right, while we wait. Okay, so it started melting already right away, because remember, the goal isn't to make it like li completely liquid. It's just to soften it up just a bit so I can whip it up back to that nice smooth texture that we had earlier. And it's going pretty fast. So almost at a good temperature that I can whip it up. The only thing about that, it was nice. I remember we don't want it to add essential oils and stuff, so I don't want it to get too warm, you know. Okay, so now it's nice and odd. Because I feel like this can be a learning moment as well. Right? So this is how much softer I made it. And now I can whip it up. So a while ago I was trying to pipe it in and I was like, okay, nope, that not gonna work. So now it's back to its soft stage. Let's go ahead and mix it in. Basically starting it over from, well, not scratch, but you know. So you see how it was grainy before? It's not grainy, well, not grainy, but you know, it has all the solid pieces. That's what I wanted it, and I like it to be smooth. So look at this here. I don't know if you can see. Compared to what I just showed in the clip before, it is smoother now. I hope that's showing. Please don't pour out, but yeah. Well, let's go ahead and mix it up. And I'm going to refrain from piping it in, and this is a formula that I'll pour. I'm just going to wait on it to solidify just a little bit more before I pour it in. But now I'm going to happen to me the last time happened. But, you know, I still want to get just a little bit more. Just a little bit. Cool it down. And then we can add it in. To get that out of the way. See, trial and error, because we were just talking about this. We were just talking about how to fix it. And I just had to fix this a while ago. So let's go. We're almost there. I got 10 minutes before I have to get out of here. So let's see if we can finish this. Probably won't be able to clean up everything by then, but let's see how soon we can finish this and get out of here in another 10 minutes. May I get, so at 18, get about 4 more minutes for just sit and get another little temperature. Get a bit cooler. You see what temperature it's at right now. So it's, yeah, this is like a good temperature. It's 78 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not a bad temperature. When it go down to 70 at them time, they start get kind of thick, but 78 isn't bad. All right. Okay, so you guys see me better with this light off. Is that what you're saying? Okay, maybe that solidify a bit. I'm just getting the plug for the light so you can't see me. That's all we're doing here. Nothing to see here. Okay, I guess not. I guess not. Let's see how much minutes are we're almost there. I'm not even plug it in yet and it lights up, eh? There it is. Okay. 5 more minutes, and then once the 5 minutes up, we're good to go. Or I can just pour it in here like this, but that kind of too thick. There's a certain texture that woman like it before I pour it in. Let's test it. Why does it say 80? Back to 80. That's strange. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da. It's actually not too bad. Not a bad position at all. Okay, something is still kind of warm. Just give it about 3-4 minutes because we need to whip it up so it can go in the jar. We had a moment today. But I guess this is a good behind the scenes and good idea of when you know make a body butter or making a skincare products, the things that can happen. Yes, this is a good vision of it, a good visual. Okay. I have to go soon. See where it's at. I don't know how it went back up to 79, but this is killing me right now. Note to self, start earlier next time. All right, so if you're watching this to see how to fix it, because I have to end this soon, what will happen is you'll have it cool down just a little bit more for it to get that just a little bit solid. Whip it to a certain temperature and then pour it in. because it's a cocoa butter, the texture is a bit thicker, so it's hard for pipe in the container. So you want to get it to a certain texture, just I think it's like it's a little bit about 72, and then you can whip it and pour it in. So with that said, I think this is where I'm going to end it. I am going to wrap up. You guys did see me pour it in and never complete, but what I'm going to do, I am going to do this off camera, and then I'm going to post it on my community post, and you'll be able to see the picture of it, the formula, and me pouring this in on this on the overhead. Step by step will show me pouring it in for sure, so you can kind of get an idea of what temperature to use to pour it in. You can even pour it in as it is now, but it won't have that little whip effect to it. That's the only thing. It won't have that. And that's what we're going for. So it says 73 now. Let's see. Scamming at 73. Every time we put it go back up to 78, so I'm not understand. Alright, so it is liquid. I don't want to pour it at this. I'm going to put it in the freezer because this have to go in before me leave. I'm not giving up. Wish I had a snack to see me through this. Let's see. I don't know, my views are pretty low for this one, but that's okay. All right, so we had to get to the big dogs. We had to drop it in the freezer for it to cool down just a little bit more because that wasn't enough. I don't want to get too tough again, then we have to melt it again, but I also don't want it to be that thin before I pour it in. So I'm gonna take my time and make sure so okay. Yeah, I'm gonna wait and make it thaw out because we're like almost there. Almost there. If you're just joining me, we are making a whipped cocoa butter with 2 ingredients. I am currently, so we did complete it, but it was a bit hard. I couldn't pipe it in, so I decided to fix it and I thawed it out a bit. Now I have to have it cool again for a little bit and then I'm going to pour it in. I'm not going to pipe it in. I'm also not going to add additional oils to it. I'm just going to keep it at the texture that it is. Probably 30% would have been better, but 35 is perfectly fine. And be nice and moisturizing as well. So that's what I'm waiting for. I have about 3 more minutes, probably 8 more minutes, and then I'll take it out. But we're going to sit this one out. I was going to turn it off, but I'll wait. I feel like we can get it done. Let's see this here while you guys are here. So don't forget to like the video if you're interested in this type of content. Where is it? Let's go ahead and check this. Let's switch that up for you guys. And if you have any question, please drop it down below. Okay. So our lemon is back. Okay. I don't know why my hands are becoming so irritated so easily these days, but that's okay. I'll figure it out. Don't do it. 1 minute. Ooh, ooh. Oh, it's still here. What is it? Okay. Let's go ahead and look it up. It did get a little bit harder, which is what we were going for, so that's good. It's still less creamy, but that's okay. Let's scrape off the sides of it. I'll mix it up a bit. Then I'll go ahead and pour it in. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to pour this in a few, about 10 more minutes. And if you're still here, thanks for watching. If you want to see the end result of this, subscribe, like, and it will be on my community post. Thanks for being here. Thanks for staying. Thanks for sticking around. If you want to see more of this, subscribe. And if you have any questions, let me know underneath the community post. Until next time, bye, and thanks for watching. Woo. Come on, turn off. Okay, there we go.